Before you close your eyes tonight, take a moment to just be here, not in tomorrow's worries, not in yesterday's regret, just here in this quiet, breathing space. You don't need to figure everything out before morning. You don't need to fix every mistake, solve every question, or map out the next 5 years while lying in the dark. The day is over, and it has already done its work. If this gentle pause feels like something your heart has been asking for tonight, leave a quiet affirmation in the comments. I give myself permission to rest, heal, and grow. Let those words carry a bit of the weight you've been holding on your shoulders. So often, we carry the daytime into the nighttime. We lay our heads down on the pillow, but our minds keep walking through every conversation, every decision, and every moment where we felt we fell short. We replay the slight hesitation in our voice when we spoke up in a meeting, wondering if we sounded foolish. We feel the quiet guilt of choosing to stay home to rest instead of meeting up with friends who invited us out. We reread subtle text messages in our heads, trying to guess what someone meant by a tone or a short response. But peace doesn't come from having all the answers right now. It comes from agreeing to let the day end. Think about how heavy the expectation of being constantly available, endlessly productive, and perpetually strong really is. All day long, you hold yourself together. You put on the face that the world needs to see. You are responsible for your work, your family, your obligations, and the quiet upkeep of your own life. You smile when you are tired. You say, "I'm fine," when your chest feels heavy. And you keep moving forward because you feel you have no other choice. By the time the night arrives, that armor you've been wearing all day is so worn out, yet you forget that you are allowed to take it off. Lying in the dark, every small worry feels magnified. A simple choice you made hours ago feels like a monumental mistake. An unfinished conversation feels like a broken relationship. A minor delay in your plans feels like personal failure. But notice what is happening in those moments. Your tired mind is trying to solve problems that were never meant to be solved at midnight. You are trying to repair tomorrow using the exhaustion of today. What would happen if you simply gave yourself grace? What if, instead of judging yourself for what you didn't do, you honored the quiet effort it took just to make it through? Maybe today wasn't your best day. Maybe you felt distant, overwhelmed, or overly sensitive. Maybe you cried in your car on the way home, or maybe you just felt numb while looking out the window. That is okay. You are human, and human beings are not meant to run on endless output without a place to land. Let the air in the room feel cool and still. Feel the steady weight of the blanket holding you. Notice the quiet rhythm of your breath as it flows in and out without you even having to ask it to. Your body knows how to let go, even when your mind resists. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Soften the small muscles around your eyes that have been staring at screens and squinting against the bright lights of the day. Tonight, you do not have to carry the burden of being who everyone needs you to be. You do not have to be the fixer the achiever, or the rock for everyone else. Right now, in this dim light, you are allowed to just be a person who is tired and deserving of peace. Repeat this to yourself, gently and without rush. The day is done. I did what I could. What remains undone can wait for tomorrow's light. Right now, my only responsibility is to surrender to the quiet, to forgive myself for my limitations, and to let my mind find its rest. You are allowed to lay down the heaviness. You are allowed to rest. Think about how much effort goes into simply carrying yourself through a single day. From the moment your eyes open in the morning, your mind begins to spin. You manage expectations, adapt to sudden changes, support the people around you, and navigate your own internal tides. You answer demands before you've even had a chance to ask yourself how you're feeling. You smooth over difficult moments, balance subtle conflicts, and push through your own fatigue just to keep things moving. By the time evening arrives, it is easy to feel completely drained. Yet we demand even more from ourselves. We sit in the quiet of our rooms and review our endless to-do lists, noticing only what remains unfinished. We treat our own minds like tough taskmasters. We look back at the day not with gratitude for what we survived, but with a critical eye for where we stumbled. We focus on the unanswered messages, the projects that took longer than planned, or the small goals we set that slipped through our fingers. We carry a silent, heavy guilt for simply being human and having limits. But holding on to that tension when the sun goes down doesn't make us more productive tomorrow. It only starves us of the rest we desperately need tonight. What if, tonight, you decided that what you completed today was enough? What if you looked at your efforts, even the messy, quiet, barely visible ones, and declared them worthy? The unfinished tasks will still be there tomorrow, but you do not have to carry them into your sleep. They do not need your worry while you lie in the dark. They do not need your anxious planning at midnight. Release the quiet demand for perfection. So many of us hold on tight because we believe that letting go means giving up. We fear that if we relax our grip, everything we've worked so hard to build will fall apart. But letting go isn't about surrendering your dreams or abandoning your responsibilities. It is about recognizing that your mind needs space to restore itself. It is understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot heal in a state of constant defense. There is a profound, gentle power in stepping back. Think of how a hand feels when it has been clenched into a tight fist for hours. The fingers become sore, stiff, and exhausted. Holding on to every worry, every expectation, and every outcome feels exactly like that inside your soul. When you finally open your hand, it might feel strange or uncomfortable at first, but then comes the rush of relief. That relief is what your spirit is reaching for tonight. Give yourself permission to unburden your thoughts. Picture each lingering responsibility, each unsettled thought, and each tomorrow problem being set down softly outside your bedroom door. You are not discarding them forever. You are simply placing them down so you can rest. They can wait. The world can keep spinning without your active supervision for a few hours. Notice how it feels to let your posture soften. Allow the deep breath you've been holding in your chest all day to finally release. You don't need to control anything right now. You don't need to manage anyone else's feelings. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. In this space, you are allowed to just exist, free from the pressure of achieving or doing. Tonight, let go of the need to have it all figured out. Let go of the desire to fix what is already behind you. Honor the quiet power of release, knowing that resting tonight is the bravest, most caring gift you can offer to the person you are becoming tomorrow. Breathe out the need to hold on and allow yourself to gently drift into ease. When the room goes quiet and the noise of the outer world fades away, the subtle thoughts we manage to ignore all day usually surface. During the busy hours, it is easy to keep those quiet voices at bay. We fill our day with tasks, light background sound, and endless little distractions to keep our minds occupied. But when the lights go out and the silence settles around us, all the things we swept under the rug gently come back to sit at the edge of the bed. Maybe it's a lingering doubt about a recent decision, like changing your career path or setting a new boundary with a longtime friend. Or perhaps it's an unsettled feeling about where your life is heading. It could be a sudden wave of loneliness that catches you off guard, or a quiet question asking if you are truly happy with the life you are building. These thoughts aren't meant to punish you. They are simply the parts of yourself that have been waiting all day for a quiet moment to be heard. Instead of pushing those thoughts away or letting them overwhelm you, try sitting with them gently. So often, our instinct is to run from uncomfortable emotions. We try to force ourselves to think positive thoughts, or we reach for our phones just to escape the stillness. But resisting these feelings only makes them louder. When you fight what is inside you, you turn your own mind into a battlefield, right when you need it to be a sanctuary. Carl Jung once observed, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." When we slow down enough to listen to what is happening beneath the surface, we stop letting silent fears dictate our choices. We begin to see our inner world clearly, without judgment. Listening doesn't mean you have to act on every thought immediately, nor does it mean every fearful thought is the truth. It simply means acknowledging that your inner life deserves your presence and understanding. Think of your unspoken thoughts like a friend who has been waiting patiently for you to finish your work. They don't need a grand solution tonight. They just want to know that you are paying attention. You can say to yourself, "I hear you. I see that you are worried about the future, or feeling hurt by what happened, or feeling tired of trying so hard." Just giving your feelings a little bit of breathing room softens their sharp edges. When you allow yourself to listen without fear, something wonderful happens. The tension begins to melt away. The thoughts lose their power to scare you because they are no longer hidden in the dark corners of your mind. You realize that you are strong enough to hold space for your own doubts, your own sorrow, and your own hopes. You are not broken for having complicated feelings. You are simply human, deep, and evolving. Tonight, let your mind be a safe place for everything you feel. You do not need to judge yourself for having lingering doubts or unspoken worries. Let them come, let them be felt, and then let them drift away like leaves floating down a quiet stream. As you listen with kindness, your mind naturally grows calmer, free from the heavy burden of running away from itself. You can finally lean back, breathe a deep sigh of relief, and allow your thoughts to gently settle into peace. Many of us carry invisible scripts written long ago, rules about how quickly we should succeed, how composed we ought to appear, or how much we need to accomplish to be worthy of rest. From an early age, we absorb quiet messages about what a good or successful life is supposed to look like. We learn to measure our value by how much we can handle, how little we complain, and how seamlessly we keep up with everyone around us. You might find yourself comparing your steady, quiet progress to someone else's highlight reel, feeling an unspoken pressure to catch up. You see others moving forward, reaching milestones, or appearing to have everything sorted out. And a quiet voice inside asks why you aren't further along. You wonder if you're falling behind, if you made a wrong turn somewhere, or if you simply aren't doing enough. But comparison is a cruel lens. It forces you to weigh your internal struggles, your quiet healing, and your behind-the-scenes effort against someone else's polished outer surface. Tonight is an opportunity to question those hidden expectations. Who told you that you had to be further along than you are right now? Who decided the schedule for your growth, your healing, or your success? Life isn't a race with a fixed timeline. There is no universal deadline for reaching peace, finding your purpose, or building a life that feels authentic to you. Everyone moves at their own pace, carrying their own hidden burdens and navigating their own unseen storms. Real growth happens in subtle, invisible ways. When you choose patience over frustration, when you choose self-compassion over criticism, and when you allow your journey to unfold at its own natural pace. It happens in the quiet moments no one else sees. When you take a deep breath instead of reacting in anger. When you set a quiet boundary to protect your energy. Or when you decide to try again after feeling completely defeated. That is real progress, even if it doesn't come with applause or external recognition. Consider how much unnecessary weight you carry simply by trying to live up to a version of yourself that was never real to begin with. You do not have to be relentless. You do not have to be unshakable. You are allowed to be a work in progress. You are allowed to have seasons where you build, and seasons where you simply rest and collect yourself. What if you tore up the script you've been trying so hard to follow? What if, starting tonight, you decided to write a new narrative, one that honors your real capacity, your unique timing, and your genuine needs? In this new narrative, resting is not a reward you have to earn after working until collapse. Resting is a basic requirement of your humanity. In this new narrative, taking longer to reach a goal does not mean you failed. It means you took the scenic route, gathering wisdom and resilience along the way. In this new narrative, your worth is not tied to your output, your status, or how well you satisfy the expectations of others. Tonight, put down the heavy ruler you've been using to measure your life. Release the quiet shame of not being there yet, and give yourself permission to be right here. You are exactly where you need to be to learn the lessons this moment is trying to teach you. Breathe in the comfort of knowing that your story is still being written, and you are allowed to let it unfold softly, at its own beautiful pace. We are often far kinder to everyone else than we are to ourselves. Think about how you respond when someone you love comes to you at the end of a hard day. If a friend came to you tonight feeling exhausted, uncertain, or disappointed by a minor setback, you wouldn't judge them or demand instant perfection. You wouldn't list all their past failures or tell them they should have worked harder. You would sit with them in the dark, offer them warmth, validation, and encouragement, and gently remind them that they are doing the best they can. Yet, when it comes to our own inner dialogue, we can be remarkably harsh. We hold ourselves to impossible standards that we would never dream of imposing on anyone else. When we drop the ball, we call ourselves weak. When we feel overwhelmed, we tell ourselves to just push through and stop complaining. We treat our own hearts like an endless project to be managed, fixed, or corrected, rather than a living being that needs tenderness to survive. Genuine self-compassion is not about making excuses or pretending that mistakes don't happen. It is not about self-pity or avoiding responsibility. It is simply the radical, gentle decision to stop treating yourself like the enemy. It is deciding to extend the exact same grace, patience, and soft understanding inward that you so freely give to the rest of the world. Tonight, try offering yourself that exact same understanding. Look back on today with softer eyes. Acknowledge the moments where you tried your best, even if the outcome wasn't flawless. Maybe you didn't finish everything on your list. Maybe your patience ran thin for a moment. Maybe you spent half the day carrying an invisible weight in your chest that nobody else could see. Honor that effort. You managed to navigate an entire day while carrying your internal world, and that in itself is worthy of respect. Imagine what it would feel like to drop the internal critic just for tonight. What would happen if, every time a harsh thought arose, telling you that you aren't enough, that you should be further along, or that you failed, you gently replaced it with a voice of quiet comfort? What if you spoke to yourself like someone who truly loves you? You might say, "I see how hard you worked today. I see how tired you are. It is okay that you don't have everything figured out right now. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to take a break." Treating your own mind with softness is a practice, especially if you have spent years relying on self-criticism as a way to motivate yourself. We often stay hard on ourselves because we fear that if we soften, we will lose our drive. But cruelty is not what makes us grow. Care is. A flower does not bloom because it is scolded. It blooms because it is given light, water, and time. Your spirit works the exact same way. As you lie here tonight, let your breath slow down. Feel the physical warmth of your blanket, and let that warmth remind you of the comfort you owe to yourself. Unclench the small, tight muscles in your shoulders and forehead. Let your heart be soft. You have been through so much, survived every difficult day of your past, and kept going even when it was hard. You deserve your own kindness tonight. Not after you fix your life, not after you reach your next goal, but right now, in this plain, quiet moment. Honor your journey, forgive your small mistakes, and treat your own mind with the softness and respect you so freely give to others. Breathe in self-acceptance, breathe out the judgment, and let yourself rest peacefully in your own soft care. Our daily lives are filled with constant stimulation, notifications, headlines, background music, and endless streams of commentary. From the second we wake up, our attention is pulled in 1,000 different directions. We scroll through endless feeds, listen to voices we've never met, absorb opinions on things we didn't ask to think about, and react to a relentless stream of digital alerts. By nighttime, our sensory systems are saturated. We finally put the phone down and sit in silence, but the echoes of the world continue to bounce around inside us. Our minds become like crowded rooms where everyone is shouting at once. We carry the residual energy of every video we watched, every news report that made our stomach drop, every email that demanded our time, and every advertisement that told us we needed to be different, richer, or better. Even when we desperately want to rest, our brain keeps processing the surplus noise, trying to organize a chaotic deluge of information that was never meant for one human mind to hold. Creating intentional space for quiet isn't a luxury. It is a necessity for emotional clarity. Silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the presence of your true self. It is the quiet clearing in the dense woods where you can finally hear your own heart beating, where your own thoughts can stretch out without being crowded out by someone else's noise. Tonight, let the silence be a refuge rather than something to fill. So often, when the world goes quiet, we feel an unnatural urge to fill it back up. We turn on the television just to have background chatter, or we reach for our screens out of habit because the stillness feels unfamiliar or uneasy. But that stillness is where your spirit catches its breath. Allow your nervous system to settle. Think of a jar filled with muddy water that has been shaken all day long. If you keep shaking it, the water will stay murky and clouded. But if you set the jar down on a table and leave it alone, the dirt gradually settles to the bottom, and the water becomes completely clear. Your mind is that jar. The noise of the day has shaken everything up. But in this quiet room, you have placed the jar down. You don't need to stir it. You don't need to fix the mud. You just need to let it sit. In the absence of external input, your mind finally gets the chance to sort through its experiences, breathe deeply, and find its center again. The urgency of the world fades away when you step outside of its reach. The breaking news will wait. The trending topics will pass. The digital notifications can sit unanswered in the dark. None of it is more important than your internal peace right now. Reclaiming your mind means deciding that your inner landscape belongs to you, not to the algorithms, the headlines, or the demands of the day. It means placing a gentle boundary between yourself and the rest of the noisy world. As you lie here, listen to the subtle sounds of your immediate room, the faint hum of a fan, the soft rustle of the sheets, the quiet rhythm of your breathing. These simple physical sounds anchor you to the present moment. They remind you that you are right here, safe, shielded, and separate from the storm of global noise. Breathe in the stillness and let it wash through the crowded corners of your mind. Release the felt need to stay connected to everything all the time. Allow the quiet to wrap around you like a soft, warm blanket, soothing your overstimulated senses and guiding you gently back home to yourself. It is natural to want to show only our best, most capable self to the world, the side that is organized, cheerful, confident, and resilient. From a very young age, we learn which parts of us receive applause and which parts make people uncomfortable. We learn to polish our outer shell, highlighting our achievements, our strength, and our ability to keep going no matter what. We present a version of ourselves that feels safe, controlled, and easy for others to love. But beneath that carefully maintained surface, we also carry quiet vulnerabilities, moments of insecurity, and lingering doubts that we keep hidden away in the dark. We bury our tiredness because we fear being seen as weak. We hide our grief because we don't want to burden anyone else. We tuck away our quiet fears, our awkwardness, and our unspoken wounds, hoping that if we ignore them long enough, they will simply disappear. We end up living fractured lives, constantly protecting the fragile parts of who we are while overworking the strong ones. Carl Jung reflected deeply on human wholeness when he noted, "I would rather be whole than good." Real healing doesn't come from denying the parts of yourself that feel hesitant, messy, or uncertain. It does not come from pretending that you never get scared, hurt, or lost. True integration happens when you stop fighting your own complexity, when you step out of the illusion of perfection and accept all of who you are, your strengths alongside your delicate moments, your confidence alongside your lingering questions. Think about how much energy it takes to constantly hide your own humanity. It is exhausting to spend every day pretending to have it all together, pretending that sharp words don't hurt you, or pretending that you never feel lost. When you deny your shadow, your sadness, your fatigue, your fears, you don't actually destroy those feelings. You just make them feel abandoned. What if tonight you decided to bring all the scattered pieces of yourself back home? What if you looked at the tired, wounded, or insecure parts of your spirit, not with shame, but with warmth and welcome? You do not need to split yourself into pieces to be worthy of rest. The version of you that stumbled today is just as worthy of peace as the version of you that succeeded. The version of you that felt anxious, doubtful, or small deserves just as much soft care as the version that feels bold and bright. Honoring your whole self means acknowledging that light and shadow belong together. Your capacity for deep joy exists right alongside your capacity for deep feeling. Your sensitivity is not a defect. It is the reason you can care so deeply. Your past mistakes are not stains on your character. They are simply the rough soil from which your wisdom grew. Every piece of your story, every scar, every hesitation, and every quiet triumph has shaped the unique person lying here tonight. Imagine wrapping your arms around every single version of yourself, the child you used to be, who was afraid of the dark, the younger self who made messy choices while trying to figure things out, and the person you are right now, simply trying your best to navigate this life. Tell those parts of yourself that they don't have to hide anymore. They are welcome here in the quiet. Tonight, let go of the pressure to be a performance. Let go of the need to be a finished product. Allow yourself to be whole, imperfect, growing, deep, and deeply human. Breathe into the freedom of total self-acceptance, knowing that you don't need to be perfect to be complete, and let your whole self gently settle into rest. As the night deepens, you don't need to craft a grand strategy for the future. You don't need to lay awake designing a massive blueprint to fix your entire life by tomorrow morning. Transformation rarely happens through massive, dramatic leaps. It is not built on sudden, overwhelming overhauls that leave you feeling exhausted before the day even begins. True, lasting change is quiet. It is built out of small, consistent choices made day after day. The subtle shifts in direction that over time steer your life toward a completely different destination. When we look toward tomorrow, it is so easy to feel weighed down by the sheer volume of what we think we ought to accomplish. We pile on high expectations, demanding that our future selves be faster, stronger, happier, and infinitely more productive. We create invisible pressures that turn the gift of a new day into a daunting mountain to climb. But setting intentions for your horizon isn't about giving yourself more work to do. It is about choosing how you want to feel while you walk your path. Instead of overwhelming yourself with huge goals, ask yourself one simple question tonight. What is one small way I can treat myself with more kindness tomorrow? Maybe it's taking 5 quiet minutes during a busy afternoon to just step outside, breathe the open air, and check in on how you're doing. Maybe it's choosing to say no to a request that drains your energy, giving yourself permission to honor your own limits. Maybe it's allowing yourself to pause before reacting when a moment feels tense, offering yourself space instead of stress. Or perhaps it is simply promising to drink an extra glass of water, to walk a little slower, or to speak to yourself with a bit more gentleness when you make a mistake. Those small shifts over time reshape your entire life. They are quiet acts of self-respect. When you set small, compassionate intentions, you teach your mind that your well-being matters just as much as your achievements. You stop treating tomorrow like a battle to be won and start seeing it as a fresh canvas, a clean, quiet space where you get to try again. Think of tomorrow's horizon not as a test you have to pass, but as a welcoming open door. You don't have to carry the mistakes, the awkward moments, or the heavy burdens of today through that door. You get to leave them right here in the night. Tomorrow doesn't ask you to be perfect. It only asks you to show up as you are, taking one soft step at a time. When you plant a gentle intention in your heart before you sleep, it acts like a beacon in the quiet of your mind. It anchors you. It gives your spirit something peaceful to reach toward when the light comes back into the sky. You don't need to know how every detail will play out. You don't need to have all the answers for what lies ahead down the road. You only need to trust that you have the internal strength to meet whatever tomorrow brings, one breath at a time. So, let your grand plans fall away for now. Release the urge to control what hasn't happened yet. Whisper a simple, quiet hope for yourself for the morning. Tomorrow, I will be patient with my heart. Tomorrow, I will give myself grace. Feel the relief in that promise. Let it quiet the restless energy in your chest and settle the lingering noise in your mind. You have set your course with kindness, and that is more than enough. Breathe in the peaceful promise of a new beginning. Let go of the rest, and rest easy, knowing that tomorrow's horizon will meet you with open arms. As you settle into the quiet of the night, release the need to hold on to today any longer. The conversations are finished, the effort is complete, and the sun has set. Tomorrow will bring its own opportunities. But right now, your only responsibility is to rest. For so many of us, resting feels like something we have to earn. We lie in bed with an internal judge constantly tallying up our productivity, telling us that we haven't earned the right to relax because there is still work to be done, messages to be answered, or problems to be solved. We treat sleep like a luxury instead of a fundamental human need. But tonight, you are invited to break that cycle. You do not need to prove your worth to earn your rest. Rest is not a reward for doing everything right. It is the quiet sanctuary where your body and soul go to mend. Give yourself total, unconditional permission to unplug. Permission to lay down the mental heavy lifting you've been doing all day. Permission to stop planning, stop managing, and stop trying to stay in control. The world will keep turning without your effort for the next few hours. The people in your life will be okay. The tasks will wait. And the sun will rise again without you having to pull it into the sky. Right now, your only duty is to be gentle with yourself and surrender to the dark. Feel the support beneath you. Notice how the mattress cradles your body without asking anything of you in return. It holds you fully, without judgment, without expectation. Let your physical body sink into that support. Release the tightness in your neck. Let your shoulder blades sink deeper into the bed and unclench the soft muscles of your hands. Breathe out the tension of the day and let your mind drift into deep, restorative peace. Every slow, steady breath out is a sign to your nervous system that you are safe. You are safe in this room. You are safe in this moment. There are no demands on your spirit right now, no tests to pass, no performance to give. You get to step out of the spotlight of your life and simply fade into the quiet dark. If lingering thoughts try to pull you back into worry, meet them with soft refusal. You can quietly tell your mind, "Not right now. We are done for today. We can pick this back up tomorrow if we need to, but tonight belongs to peace." Allow those restless thoughts to dissolve into the background like fading echoes. Think about how resilient you have been to make it to this point. You have navigated tough days before. You have survived difficult seasons, and you have carried heavy burdens with quiet strength. But even the strongest trees need the winter to rest before they can blossom again. Rest is not weakness. It is the quiet soil where your future strength is grown. Allow a warm wave of gratitude to wash over you. Gratitude for your heart that keeps beating, your lungs that keep breathing, and your spirit that keeps trying, even when things are hard. Honor the quiet journey you are on. You are learning, you are growing, and you are healing in ways you might not even fully see yet. You have done enough today. You are enough as you are, and you are ready for sleep. Close your eyes fully now. Let the silence wrap around you like a soft, familiar cloak. Let your thoughts grow slow, soft, and distant. Drift away into the calm, healing waters of rest, knowing that you are completely safe, deeply worthy, and fully permitted to sleep. As we stand here together at the quiet threshold of this journey, take a long, slow breath in and let it out with a soft, peaceful sigh. Look at how far you have walked through the landscape of your own mind tonight. You have moved through the heavy layers of the day, set down the burdens that were never yours to carry indefinitely, faced the quiet doubts that usually hide in the shadows, and gently dismantled the impossible expectations you've held against yourself. You have learned to honor your growth, soften your internal voice, reclaim your stillness, accept your whole self, set kind intentions, and give yourself pure, unconditional permission to rest. This journey was never about turning you into someone new. It was never about fixing a version of you that was somehow broken or incomplete. It was simply about helping you remember who you are when the noise of the world stops shouting, when the expectations fall away and you are left with the quiet, resilient truth of your own soul. Growth, healing, and self-discovery are not destination points on a map that you reach once and never have to revisit. They are rhythmic, daily returns to yourself. They are built in the small, unglamorous moments. The moment you catch yourself being overly harsh and choose kindness instead. The moment you feel overwhelmed and give yourself 5 minutes to just breathe. The moment you realize you don't have to carry tomorrow's worries into tonight's sleep. You are a living, evolving human being. You are allowed to be a work in progress and a masterpiece at the very same time. You are allowed to have days where you feel strong and clear, and days where you feel quiet, hesitant, and tired. None of those moments diminish your worth. None of those phases mean you are failing. They simply mean you are alive, feeling deeply, and navigating a complex world with a soft and courageous heart. As this moment comes to a quiet close, carry this stillness with you. Let it settle into your chest like a warm, comforting light. Remember that whenever life feels too fast, too loud, or too demanding, this place of quiet sanctuary exists inside you. You do not need an invitation to return to it. You only need to pause, drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and take a single, conscious breath before you drift off into a deep, restorative sleep tonight, or before you step back into the gentle rhythm of your life. Take a moment to anchor this peaceful feeling. Let it take root in your mind so that it stays with you long after these words fade away.